Coming to you live as your neighborhood wise man is the boy C Hop. I'm sitting here with the OG LBZ, man, brother Mustafa, man, the father of the young rapper Capo that died a few years back, and he promoting his organization, Capping for Capo, C4C, you know what I mean? So we out here in Chicago, and I'm talking to him, man. This is one of my close guys, man. One of the dudes that I can call like an old head, older brother, a sheik, or whatever the case may be. So my man invited me into his place, man, and we sitting here talking, and I wanted to interview him about what he, you know, all the things that he been through, because I was one of the first people, if not the first person, that actually was there to comfort him when he lost his son a few years ago. So since then, like, how did that, you know, I know physically because I was with you, but just for the people or other fathers that may go through this, how did that affect you being in the federal system 60 days before you released after a 10-year sentence, knowing, finding out that you lost your baby boy?
Man, it was a real traumatic experience, something that I wouldn't wish on nobody else, and something that if you're not mentally sane, it will take you to a whole nother place, which it did. And because I'm so grateful to Allah that He had a brother such as yourself in my life, man, to bring me to reality and help me understand that whatever happens, it's the qadar of Allah. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's preordained by Allah. And I needed that, because if not, I was headed down a path of destruction. I wanted to do things, bad things. I had bad intentions. But when I end up coming home, because my son had become a household name in Chicago as a rapper. Because of my situation in the federal system, I didn't even know this guy. He was Marvin to me. When I come back, he was Capo. I never met Capo. You understand? And from what I was able to learn and gather about Capo, Capo was a real hell of a guy. You know what I'm saying? That everybody loved, and he was inspiring. So, although I had a lot of negativity in my head about what happened to my baby, I thought about how I'm looking at babies, we're losing babies at an all-time high. So I said, it's got to be a better way. And I know God didn't take my baby from me for me to be laying in somebody's bushes or end up risking going back to jail. So I came up with an organization, to a vision that I had of helping other children, helping to save babies' lives if I could. And I had to find a way that would do it, and I could be an instrument used, a tool used to not just help the children, but the parents too, because this is a situation when this happened, it can take you to a whole nother place. So I said, you know what? I found out that everybody that was his buddies calling said they capping. They're cappers. So put it together, and now I'm capping. I'm capping for Capo until my heart stops. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
And what capping is for in my organization, which is Capo.
Speak up just a little bit.
What capping is with my organization, Capping for Capo Inc., capping is helping and giving back to the youth and to the community. Our organization is geared to creating a plethora of resources and programs that will help our youth get a better alternative to gangs and gun violence. So in focusing on our mission, we have a lot of things in place, such as summer basketball, girls and boys summer basketball camps. We do entertainment concerts, and then comes the pandemic. You know, so it stopped our camp, it stopped our concert, So now what we was able to come together and put together was the Cabin for Capo COVID-19 Pandemic Food Relief, where we pass out food daily to the underserved communities, youth, adults, and we continue to give back so that we can change, so that we can move forward and change the narrative in our underserved community. And that's what we do at the Cabin for Capo.
And that, you know, that's a beautiful thing, man. If more people came together and stood against gun violence, and I don't want to say black on black crime, but it is what it is. But if we took our neighborhoods back in a positive light and gave, because we might can't, and now I understood this. Like I remember hearing stuff when they used to talk about saving certain level or age of people, and they say, oh, we might can't save the, and this don't mean that everybody can't be saved. So I wanted to be taken literally. But we might can't save these groups, but we have to save these babies. And when you save the babies, you end up, you raise a different culture, because a lot of it comes from just being embedded in a bad culture, and a bad culture, an ignorant culture that we take on, and we pledge to this culture with our lives, whether it's street corners, whether it's neighborhoods, whether it's blocks, whether it's gangs, whether it's the size of the cities, whatever it is. We pledge to this stuff, and we get taught this from a little age, and we grow up, and this be our badge of honor. And we dying over a falsified badge of honor. It's an illusion. There's nothing there for us. So we going to jail for the rest of our lives, or we dying for it. And that's why I appreciate what you do, you know, and I'm trying to, inspired by you, trying to do my own thing down the line, because I worry about my baby. I got a baby that's little, and I got a son that's older, and I worry about their safety in these same streets, because just like Chicago, Philadelphia's constant killings, and it needs to stop. And we have to find a way to reach these kids to let them know it's something greater than these street corners or these neighborhoods or these flags or these blocks or these whatever sides of the cities or these cities, whatever the case may be. It's bigger. So seeing you doing food giveaways, and I watch you, you know, you send a lot of that stuff to me, you know, it's inspiring. You know, hopefully we could take C4C to Philly one day, and I watch all that, and I'm inspired by the work that you do. And people might not understand it. It's small stuff that is so big in changing the culture of how our babies and our youth is raised.
It's like when I forgot the saying, but it takes a village to raise a child. So I switch it up. It takes a community of people together to raise a child, because we don't have a village. Our communities are our villages, and we have to come together. I look at how easy it was for us as a people to come together and tear down city after city. We thought in honor of George Floyd. I can't breathe. But if we use the same energy to come together and say, hey, we're gonna allow our children to grow up in these streets without having to worry about getting killed or getting shot. We can use that same energy and keep a lot of these babies alive. Because what happens is they don't get a chance to reach their full potential. And that's what breaks my heart, because in 2 weeks, maybe from the ages of 1 or maybe even younger, the ages of 1 up to about 12, in the last 2 weeks have been killed. Babies who never even get a chance to reach their full potential. Could have been our next Obama, could have been our next senator, could have been our next governor, could have been our next, and their lives are cut short because of senseless gun violence. Senseless thoughts of negativity. Let's come together as a whole and make it work. There's no group of people stronger than our people, stronger than our culture.
Mm.
You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of people don't give themselves the credit. In our culture, we don't give ourselves the credit that we can be. We can have our babies be whatever we want them to be. But if we know little, we do little. So we don't give we don't give them the opportunity to be all they can be, because we only teach them what we know instead of letting them broaden their horizon. Check this out, check that out, check this out. Anything that's positive is worth checking out. Any kid that's in our culture needs to broaden their horizon. They need to see other things. It's sad to find out that from Chicago, a kid ain't never been downtown, and they 12 or 13, or they've never had an opportunity to go to a pro game, and they're 14 or 15, or they've never had the opportunity to go to just experience some things that needs to be experienced that might make the difference
in their lives,
and where they go in their lives, and where they end up in their lives. You know.
All right, because we only get limited as far as how much they let us post at once, and just to give people got short attention spans now as far as 2 interviews opposed to 1. So I want to and kind of like closing, because what people don't understand, and not to praise it, but you came from that in that thing, like OG in that thing.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So you survived that. You've been in there. So you speaking not only from man, I lost my son, but I was also in that lifestyle. Or not to say that, because he was rapping, he was doing this thing. People in Philly love him. You know what I mean? I done heard his music. I done heard people representing. You seen Meek Mill's rap. You seen a lot of people
keep capping.
giving him shout out. Everybody keep capping. So in closing, if you had a message that you can send to, because the people from all of these major cities and minor, and all of these cities, and all of the people, the young youth that's caught up in the streets and all different type of stuff, that think that this is the way to go and don't have no guidance, like what would be a message that you can close us out with, a most positive message? And what would you say in those regards?
My most positive message would be to the adults and the younger adults. We are obligated to keep our babies alive. They say Black lives matter, our babies' lives matter, because they are our future. And that's what this organization is about, creating better futures for our future leaders. And the only way we can do that is if the adults and the young adults come together, and let's make a better place for our kids. If you got a child, you're no longer a kid no more. I don't care what your age is. If you've birthed a child, or you've made you're not a kid anymore.
You're a part of the young adults that need to be a part of the help.
So don't be a part of the problem. They say if you're not the problem, you're the solution. If you're not the solution, you're the problem. Let's be the solution to keeping these babies alive,
So I appreciate it, man. We talked about 2 hours before this. We got so much. We could go in for real. You know what I mean? But just for the people to get a message, man. So if we was able to benefit somebody, a father out there who lost a child, a couple young people just died last week from where I'm from. So for those people who lost their kids, who lost brothers and family members, I lost my cousin. I lost so many people, but one that's all of them stick. But my cousin was almost 21 years ago, still hurt. So, when we do things that help us through it, as well as help other people get through it. So if you can do anything positive, put the guns down, stop the violence, and try your hardest to be a better you. And if we be better adults and better young adults, and give our kids more to look forward to than materialistics and just clothes and this nonsense, thinking we need to give them opportunity and education, because education opportunity is key. So we was able to help anybody, and even if it was one person, and it was benefit, and made all of us, be safe in these streets and all this different stuff that's going on. And don't forget C4C, man.
Capo for Capo Inc. Hey, go to our website, Capo for Capo, CAPPIN, the number 4, capo.org.
Yeah, guys, man, over and out.